Oh my goodness. Good Tuesday, everyone. It's September 6th, 2022. I'm going to try to do a funny podcast today. All right, guys? You ready for it? It's the Adam Carolla, Ken Braverman podcast. I do a podcast sometimes about the Adam Carolla message board or sub forum, whatever you want to call it, on Reddit. There's a lot of people that frequent this board by username. You can start to recognize them. A lot of regulars, a lot of people that haven't listened to the Adam Carolla podcast in eons. It's almost like a kind of like an Alcoholics Anonymous thing. It's really funny because like people are like, I haven't listened to the ACS. I haven't listened to the Adam and Drew show in 2 years. But people talk about it as if it's like a rite of passage, having not listened to the show and yet still frequent the sub forum. And it's funny because people that I'm sure that are associated with the show or defenders of Adam will come on here and just, they hate this sub forum. I mean, everyone is horrible. Everyone is. I mean, we got like open neo-Nazis on here who do nothing but complain as well. It's a fascinatingly insane place, and I like the podcast about it because it's funny. It's funny, and it gets real sometimes. It's gone sort of political, and we can have discussions about politics. Sorry, I'm driving. I'm driving in Colorado. I'm almost near South Park, Colorado, in between Salida and Buena Vista and Fairplay. Tons of different places. I'm all over the place. So if you traveled the country, which I do frequently, America's a beautiful place. I like to talk about it. So let's get back to the sub forum now. All right. There's apparently a ginger porn star as a guest today. I'm not going to complain about that. It's better than, like Dennis Prager. I mean, look at those two right there on the screen. They're better than Dennis Prager, that's for sure. So I'm not going to complain about that. Then there's another comedian I've never heard of as the other guest. But this sub forum, it isn't about that. It's about a lot of other things. And I'd like to go over other topics and other threads, but we'll just kind of look at this. So keep in mind, we're doing a podcast. You don't have to stare at the screen, even though this is a YouTube video that's been uploaded. You can just listen. So let's talk about the sub and what is going on and what has happened, because it's fascinating. So welcome to 2022. More than 25 years after Adam Carolla started on the show Loveline, where he gave advice with a doctor to millions of people listening on the radio in the days before smartphones, before personal, I was about to say personal audio, but personal audio is the name of a company that sued Adam, so I'm not going to use that term. I was going to say before the days of the iPod, even the iPads and the iPods, anything you used to listen, and download stuff and take it with you or have access to streaming media, this is before that. This is radio. Radio, it's on from 10 to midnight, sometimes pre-recorded, depending on the day or something. It used to be live on Sunday nights from like 1 to 3 a.m. or something, I think on the East Coast, because I was on the East Coast. Anyway, it's been 25 years since that happened, and there are a lot of people that were affected by that. That is what launched Adam to that, and his talent. I mean, he's quick-witted and funny. I can remember laughing so hard listening to episodes of Loveline and him go nuts and the two of them talk. You were learning and you were laughing at the same time listening to Loveline, and certainly at a point in your life when you're a teenager where you want to sop up information about the environment, especially stuff you think is true. So to get kind of a rated R stuff coming out of Adam and ridiculous stories, along with supposedly medical advice coming from Drew, was a bang combination, right? Well, now it's different. Now if you look at the other thread, which I won't go to, we're just going to continue to stare at these. If you go to the other thread where it talks about, Adam and Drew's show, and somebody timestamp something, or Adam's just going berserk and that they have Biden derangement syndrome. That's what they're calling it. They're saying that Adam and Drew both have Biden derangement syndrome, which is a take on Trump derangement syndrome, which is what people that support Trump would say others have when they're trying to put Trump in jail, get him out of society, get him, stop him from attacking and inciting violence against America, just get him to stop trying to overthrow the U.S. government and get him out of power. The people who believe in that, they used to get called the Trump derangement people back when he was president, and maybe they still do. That was a lot that just came out of my mouth, but the point is the Biden derangement stuff, which is, we're just going after the person in power, especially if they're a Democrat, just because they're a Democrat, is actually not at all what Trump derangement syndrome essentially is. Trump derangement syndrome is a healthy thing. We need to put him in prison. We've got a lot of stuff to deal with here, and I see the Putin-Trump relationship as kind of the most dangerous thing that's rolling around right now. Like, Putin is trying to take over Europe because he's embarrassed about Russia. Let's face it. Putin is embarrassed that Russia is still essentially a half third world nation because they operate with mob rule, where the mob essentially controls all major industry. And Putin lines his pockets off of the work of others and threatens their lives and follows through and kills them when they don't toe in line with him. Very, very dangerous fascism. It's very scary to live in Russia. And if you're going to speak out against Putin, you're going to end up in prison like Navalny, a good man. Navalny is a very good man. You end up in prison and being tortured and poisoned, and that's the way Russia is. Well, Trump has aligned himself with Putin. He's actually open about this at this point because he's been taking money from him in the form of real estate purchases for a long time, and Lord knows whatever else. So, and Trump is scared of Putin, so that's another reason why he works with him. He understands to respect the mob rule because he knows that if you cross Putin, you're going to wind up dead, or you're going to wind up certainly in trouble, in physical harm, and all kinds of other things that happen. So Trump is a pussy and aligns himself with Putin. Well, now that Trump is, that the government that is in power right now, the U.S. government, all of us that support sanity, reason, intelligence, people that are not not Confederates and conspiracy theorists, but people that you would say are distinguished human beings. Those in the FBI, those in the CIA, those in the highest areas of the military, that are both parties, by the way. That's the thing, is you can be a Democrat or a Republican and be a good person. You cannot be a Trump supporter or aligned mobster and be a good person anymore. So we need to delineate between the two. And it's important for us, and you see a lot of these threads in here kind of go political in the subforum, and it's because it's so important to talk about this right now. And to have Adam on the wrong side of this issue, which is not condemning Trump, is very, very dangerous now. It is now more obvious than ever that to not do that makes you a bad and or ignorant human being, because you do not want to live under Trump fascist rule. You do not want the people that stormed the Capitol on January 6th to run this country. No, you do not. Because it will be like the movie Idiocracy. I mean, you will be sticking the same metal rod up your butt and in your mouth in the same sitting when you have those people in charge. The people that defecated in the senators' offices in the Capitol, you do not want those people in charge. Those people are the only people that were dumb enough to get riled up by a orange charlatan and go commit acts of violence that should have had them shot on sight at the Capitol. When you overtake a barricade, a fence barricade at the Capitol, you should expect to get mowed down by weapons by the government. I cannot believe that only one of them got shot in there, trying to climb through a window, right? The Ashley Babbitt, whatever. I mean, don't mourn for that person. That person was asking to be killed. And any of you who join that are asking to be shot. And it's kind of like, I was thinking about this when I was recording this podcast. I was like, you know, what we need to start discussing is, are people that support Trump at this point, are they aligned Confederates attempting to overthrow the U.S. government? And if they are, which is a debatable question, but certainly debatable, should they be allowed to vote? Like, I know there are laws on the books about people being convicted of treason, I think, not being allowed to vote. But what about these people are like openly saying they want to overthrow the U.S. government and they want to like attack the FBI and stuff? This is unacceptable behavior. Like this is not legal. So it's like, well, can we start, like designating them Confederates if they are willing to sign a document saying yes, say I support Trump's overthrow of the government and attack on the FBI. If you're willing to sign that, I think you're signing away your right to vote, and you should just we should just do that. Like, okay, well, all right, you're not really an American then. I know you're still living in Mississippi or wherever you're listening or living in. You are not really an American anymore if you want to align with this. We need to flat out call it what it is. Like, either you believe in the rule of law and good will triumph over sociopathic evil, or you just don't know up from down anymore and you're willing to support an orange salesman in his plight to overthrow the government and destroy a lot of the world by aligning himself with a very dangerous global power in Vladimir Putin. I mean, it is so antithetical to what the United States is that it bears repeating that this is an issue we need to be talking about. Why is Adam so dumb to want to align himself with the Russian mob and Trump? Is that what Adam is really doing? We should ask him that. Adam, do you condemn traitors like Trump? Or do you say that, I don't know, what do you say to that, man? I just would like to know the answer. All right? I know your orange-haired porn stars are fun, but there are important issues to talk about, and that is one of them. So don't give me don't give me Hunter Biden's laptop BS. Tell me why you think Trump should not be in prison right now. He should be locked up yesterday. He's selling secrets to our enemies. He's getting CIA agents killed by releasing their information. That's the inferred circumstantial evidence that we are seeing with what he has done. The man needs to be hanged for treason if convicted, right? That's what the law actually says. I mean, I'm not supportive of that. I think that is actually too damaging. I think we need to have evolved as a society that we don't really do this capital punishment thing anymore. But that guy needs to be locked up for the rest of his life. Perhaps in solitary, honestly. Like, he deserves to be punished for what he's done, to understand that his sociopathic illness is just so destructive to everyone else that if he will not feel empathy internally, we will make him feel empathy through solitary confinement and imprisonment. That is what I'm supporting, and let's call Adam on this, because to continue to support Trump is a fool's errand. It is incorrect, and it's starting to be criminal if you are openly supporting the violence that orange charlatan is pushing. So, future convict, Trump, let's do something about it. Adam Carolla, Subforum people. That was the podcast. Enjoy.